Besides that, we also discussed about what is budgeting, what is programming, what is variance analysis, and how do we evaluate the performance of the different centers of the organization. Those are all the different techniques which helps in order to control the various management aspects of an organization. So having completed the discussion about unit block 4, now we are going to enter into the next block, that is the last block, which focus on the applications or the application of the management control system in different sectors. That is how the management control system is going to be helpful in international, the multinational companies. And what sort of the issues will come across in this case. You may be knowing the issues pertaining to multinational corporations is something different from a domestic organizations. Keeping in mind the various differential features between a domestic organization with the top an organization outside the country, and how do we control the various aspects of the management in the multinational companies platform. Because in case of the multinational companies, we will have the issues like the exchange rate. While you are dealing the business across the countries, and the payments and the receipts of the various proceeds are involved in different nations' currencies. Suppose if you exported the goods to other nation, either the other nation has to arrange in your domestic currency, or you have to accept the currency of the other nation. So while you are accepting the other nation's currency, what is the equivalence value in your domestic currency? Or the other country is while paying the money, and what is the exchange rate between the receiving country and the country which is arranging that payment? Hence, in case of these multinational companies, issues of exchange rate arises. How do we determine that exchange rate? And whenever you are dealing that exchange rate, I think you will have different issues cropped up. How do we control those issues? Likewise, taxation, payment of the tax on our income. As and when we are having the tax, that may be the income tax or corporate taxes. What is the rate of the tax applicable in that particular country? You may have the different tax policies or the tax rates. And you must be also thorough with the tax laws of that particular nation with whom you are dealing your business transactions. And where I think you may also come across this alternative, the minimum tax. And likewise, you will have several issues will come across while you are dealing this multinational organizations. That is one area where you must discuss about management control in multinational companies. Next to this unit 12, you have another unit, that is unit 13, that is the management control of projects and multi-project organizations, projects. And here, what are the various key issues of the project? And how do we control the various activities of the project? Then role of control in projects, process of control in these projects. And this process of controlling these various projects, it all depends upon the different stages of the project. That is various phases of a project and how we are going to apply the control techniques in different stages of this project. That is another area where I think we must discuss about the management control issues in respect of this project management. Next to that, what all we have discussed so far, that may be more pertinent to manufacturing organizations because of the differences in functions, differences in features of these organizations, and variations in the structure of these organizations. Manufacturing and service organizations are having a lot of the variations in their respective functionings, and how the management control system is going to be working in service organization. That is another area. The features of the management control system in service organization, types of service organizations. And even in case of the types of service organizations also, I think you may have professional organizations or finance service organizations, healthcare organizations. So in these different types of the service organization, how the control system is going to be implemented or applied. That is another unit in the name of management control systems in service organizations. Likewise, there is one more unit, that is non-profit. You may be knowing organizations are going to be divided into profit organization, non-profit. Non-profit organizations are the organizations wherein the focus is mostly on service orientation. Non-profit organizations. And you may be knowing mostly the NGOs organizations, non-governmental organizations. And how the management control system is used in case of this non-profit organization. That is another set of the organization, how the management control system is going to be helpful here. So this block consists of 4 units. One is management control system in multinational companies, management control systems in projects or multi-project organizations, management control systems in service organizations, management control systems in non-profit organizations. By and large, and every organization is having its own objectives. In order to attain those objectives, and we will have different sections which are going to be working in their angle of the work. And ultimately, the purpose of all these activities are in order to attain the set goals. In order to reach the set goals smoothly or timely, you have to control if there are any deviations from the scheduled or the planned activities. For that, you need a control mechanism. That is in general, but pertaining to these multinational companies, multi-project organizations, service organizations, non-profit organizations, because of some unique features of these organizations, the application of the management control system in general may not be worked out here. Here you may have a different approach in order to control the various activities of the organization, activities of the management of these various organizations. So that is what we are going to discuss in this block 5 in the name of special applications of the MCS in these various organizations. Now let us start with international organizations, I mean the multinational companies. That is the name of international business. How the management control system is going to be, and what are the various issues regarding the attainment of the objectives of those international business units is having a special features or the unique things because of the nature of the organization. So here straight away, let us go for so in order to attain your set objective, like attaining this much of the sales or attaining this much of the profit, or to serve this much of the customers. So for that, you have a different issues in case of this multinational. And among all those various issues, I think the one and the most important thing is, so you are having the head office in your domestic nation, but your subsidiary companies or your branches or your sections of the business elsewhere in some other country. As and when you are dealing the various business transactions, and everything you are going to be routed through this financial matrix. Suppose while you are doing your business elsewhere, maybe by having a separate branch, maybe having some manufacturing unit, or maybe having your sales counter. There are several ways how one can carry the business in the foreign land. Let us take, for example, you have your own branch of production in the country where you are having unlimited resources in terms of the material availability, in terms of the technology, and in terms of the support from the government. And it is more crazy to operate your business elsewhere. As and when you are operating your business elsewhere, and your transactions are going to be routed through the local currency mostly. You are having a production unit in country X, and you are arranging the input materials in order to produce those products from the local markets. As and when you are arranging the things from the local market, and every transaction should be transacted in the local currency. Hence, while you are arranging the payment from your head office, what is the exchange rate of your domestic currency with that of the foreign currency through which you are going to arrange the various resources or the inputs required for attending your main activity, that is the manufacturing of product X. That is where you will come across the exchange rate. And how do we decide this exchange rate? What factors influencing? How do you control this exchange rate? That is one of the area where you must focus your attention before you are going to make an arrangement of the money in the local currency. And the other one which is very important is how we are going to operate the business in case of this international business. Are you going to have a centralized decisions or the centralized unit or the centralized department in order to arrange the various required inputs to your branches of the production? Or you may give an autonomy to the various centers where and independently they are going to work. That is the decentralization. So how do we control the activities? Is it through centralization or the decentralization? Suppose if it is a centralized control, centralized decisions, centralized operations, it is very easy for you to control the various activities, because you will mostly take into your hands the whole operations from your head office, that is centralized. So it is very easy for us to operate and to control the business activities if it is going to be a centralized setup. and you are having the MNCs in different locations, multinational companies. Your branches are going to be operating in different nations. But every unit of your multinational company should be get routed through this head office. That is what this is centralized. If such is the case, I think your job is so easy to control the various activities of the management, because at your doorsteps, at your place, the things are going to be moving. Hence, if it is going to be a centralized setup, a centralized system, the control mechanism is very, very easy. Because by take into consideration the various activities at the head office, I think you can see what is going on. Hence, the centralized setup, the centralized decisions of your international business, of your multinational business, helps a lot to go over very effective management control. That is one thing. The other one is choice of organization structure. That is also very, very important. In order to make the MCS more effective, one of the factors which is very important is type of the structure of the organization. Organization structure. Is it a decentralized structure or it is centralized? Or is it a vertical structure or a horizontal structure? If it is a vertical structure, the job of the flow of information is very smooth enough. And even while you are giving the directions to your men at the organization is also, I think it is very easy if it is going to be vertical type. If it is a horizontal or if it is a decentral type, where I think flow of information is also very difficult and get the feedback is also very difficult. Hence, there is a lot of influence of the organ structure and the control system of this MCS. Hence, if it is going to be multinational companies or the business across the globe, what type of the structure you have? Is it centralized or decentralized? If it is centralized, very easy to operate the things. If it is decentralized, every organization, every unit of your organization is having the independent account. And where there may be some problem of coordination of different sections, different branches. That is how organization structure is also highly influencing the effectiveness of this management control system. But what type of the structure should be in case of the MNCs? It all depends upon the nature of that particular government or the country or the state where you are operating your business, and also the amount of the focus should be required. And if it is a case where I think there is a lot of attention is required by the government, by the head office, in such a case, better to have a structure of a centralized. And where I think you may not be interested to go over for a decentralized type of the structure. Hence, the organ structure is very, very important. And besides the exchange rate and the organ structure, and there are various other things that should also be taken into account in order to decide what should be the type of the management control system. And generally, you will have the various factors affecting the choice of the structure. Accordingly, you have to go over a suitable structure for that particular MNC. And it all depends on the type of structure, you will have the influence of your management control system. I mean the working of this management control system. And in case of these multinational companies, the business across the globe may have more risks over the domestic business. In case of the multinational companies, as and when you are having any risk, I think you should try to control or to minimize it. That is what the job of this MCS. And in order to control these various risks of the multinational companies, first of all, you must know what are the various types of the risks we will come across. What risk can be minimized? What risk cannot be touched? So for that, as an international or a multinational organization, you must be having an idea what type of the risks we will come across in case of this MNCs. One is for conducting your business across the globe, either while you're maintaining a good relations with your customers or the suppliers, or while you're giving any credit to your customers, or while you're approaching for any credit from your suppliers, one should be having a thorough knowledge or thorough analysis regarding the creditworthiness of the other party to whom you are going to supply or from whom you are going to get the credit. So for that, you may have some trade risks or risk of the creditworthiness of other party in trade, in conduct and trade of the various nations. So how do we avoid this creditworthiness risk? How do we calculate the risk of the others, risk of the parties who wants to attend the various business activities? And credit control aspects, the various rules and regulations while sanctioning the credit, while they are releasing the amount of the money from your customers, what are the various rules of the game? That is also very, very important area. And you must have a thorough knowledge overall the credit aspects of the business. And other one is the risk of other countries' economic and global policies. Economic and political policies, how it works, that is also very useful information. Next to that, risk of interest rate exchanges, risk of interest rates. If you mobilize the money from the local country, you have to pay the interest. What is the rate of interest? What is the risk involved in this mobilization of the money from the local countries? And you may also have a risk like while you're arranging the goods on ship, you may have the problems like theft or damage or destruction during this voyage period. Hence, the risk of loss of goods shipped in transit. So because of the theft, because of the damage, because of the destruction, or because of any natural calamity. So how do we manage such type of risks? Because that is also one of the risks in your foreign trade mostly. Then if you are in the domestic market, I think you can assess to some extent what are the various likely changes or what are the various risks, market risks because of the changes in the rules and regulations of the markets. If it is going to be multinational companies, knowing the market changes in the concerned countries or changes in costs or duties of levies imposed by the trading partner and trading partner from other countries. Hence, here is also, I think you may have the problems of what sort of the changes likely to take place and how do we forecast those changes in order to avoid the market changes risks. So likewise, you may also have the risks in connection to war or epidemics, riots, or any other events affecting trading relations as between the trading partners. Then risk of the uncertainties and risk, political risks, cultural risks, of course, economic risks because of the changes in the economic policies or because of the variations in the inflation rates, and those things are going to be directly influencing your performance of the business. Since you have the targeted agenda and achieving those targeted agenda, it all depends upon how the factors are going to be favorable to the business. And those factors cannot be predicted in case of this multinational companies. And as and when you are not able to forethought of these things, in such a case, controlling these things is very, very difficult. And you may also have another area, that is taxation, issues in tax. And you may be knowing these multinational companies which are spreading their activities around the world as well as within the nations. And those tax policies are those tax rates which are going to be directly having a bearing on your profits of the organization. If it is going to be multinational companies, in multi companies, in multi economies, multi countries, you'll have multiple tax systems. You must be thorough with those tax laws or the tax calculations just in order to file your returns. That is also a unique in case of these multinational companies, multinational organizations, in order to apply your MCS, Management Control System. And then organizational structure. And you may be knowing there are different types of the structures: horizontal, vertical, matrix type. So likewise, we'll have different structures of the organization. If it is going to be centralized, very easy to control the activities rather than decentralized. So it all depends upon size of the organization, and it all depends on the policy of that particular nation and that corporate policies, which decides what type of the structure is. If it is going to be domestic business, I think everything is going to be expected within your fold, within your hands. If it is going to be across the globe, I think it may not be possible for us to shoot a particular structure which helps us. And coming to these various taxes, and you may be knowing we have the type of the structure of the taxes, like direct taxes, indirect taxes. So indirect taxes, now it is the GST, and the type of the the rates of the taxes. And these things, I think we are very familiar if it is going to be domestic case. If it is going to be multinational companies or MNCs, you will have the different set of the rules and the rates and the type of the tax also in order to decides how much tax should be paid and how to minimize the taxes. And all those things are going to be in relation to the tax environment. If it is going to be multinational companies, this is completely a different in nature rather than a domestic one. And even the computation of the tax also, the taxable income, you will have the different rules of the game, which are going to varying from country to country. And those things are also very difficult to keeping in mind while you are transacting your business activities in order to minimize the tax liability. But in some of the cases, you may have an advanced tax policy, which may not be uniform across the globe. And even if there is a advanced tax, the rates of tax may also be varying from country to country. And then, even while you are knowing the tax burden, the tax calculations, so the amount of the taxes and the rates of the tax, it all depends upon the nature of that particular country and the resident status of the SSCs. which may not be uniform throughout the globe. So in order to minimize your tax burden, what is the right type of the system? And you don't have that much of the freedom to select it, accept in it. It all depends upon the nature of that particular country. So this is how the tax laws and the payment with advance amount, the rates of the taxes, all those things are going to be the factors which should be considered while you're deciding how much should the amount of the tax to be paid. So likewise, the tax rates and minimum alternative tax, then the capital gains, legal organization, designing control systems for international business, how we are going to take the design of a structure which helps you in order to make our multinational, the management control system more effective is a point to be considered in case of the multinational companies. So this is how in case of the multinational companies, how and what factors are going to be considered while you are applying this management control system and its mechanism. Next to that, how the management control system in case of the projects are a multi-project organizations. You may be knowing what is a project. It is an independent act of completion of the whole thing within the given resources. If it is going to be a project where there is a starting point and there is an end point. So in order to complete the project, what are the various activities to be dealt with? And how much time it requires to complete the whole thing? And what is the amount of the budget arranged for that particular project? So keeping in mind the time, keeping in mind the availability of the funds, that is in the name of budget. Those are the two things which are going to be in the name of objectives. Here objective means you have the time target. Within the time, you have to finish it. Within the given resources, you have to finish it. So those are the two constraints here. So within those constraints, you must be able to finish it. For finishing or for completion of the things, and how do we going to control the various activities? So the role of control in project management is very, very sensitive. Sensitive in the sense time, there should not be any delay. Because after completion of this one, then only you are going to take up the next one. Hence, the next one is going to be dependent on how timely you are going to finish it. And moreover, if you have given an allocated amount, within the given allocated amount only, just you have to finish it. So that is how you have the two aspects. The control should be in case of the project management. And here is also in case of the project management. Anyway, in the beginning itself, I explained you there are several factors which influence the effectiveness of management control system, of which organ structure. He is also what type of the structure of the organization in case of the projects, and what type of the relations among the various wings of this project management, and how the information is going to be flow of information in the project. And this project usually consists of several phases, several stages. And the control mechanism also, it all depends upon the stage at which we are in that particular project. Generally, the phase of the project and its control, it all depends upon what is the planning of the project, execution of the project, evaluation of the project, reporting the projects. And if necessary, you are going to revise if you are not able to complete it within the time because of extraneous reasons, or maybe you are not able to complete it within the given budget, then you have to revise it, revision. And whatever are the achievements, you must also conduct the auditing. what is to be achieved, and how much we have achieved. So there are the various aspects in the name of management control in case of the project management. Let us take, for example, here the project is launching of a new product in the market. That itself we can consider as a project. So how do we launch the product in the market? So before you are going to start having an idea to produce so and so product, first of all, you must conduct a survey. What is the amount of the demand? How much is the demand? Who are the prospective customers? What is the likely amount of the cost in order to manufacture? What will be the price of the product? These things, I think, you must be having an idea before you are going to launch a product. So having collected all this information, then you will execute this idea of introducing a product. That is the second stage. Having introduced the product, you may have the several issues like from where should we get the material? How much should we get the material? Where should we store it? And who are our suppliers? So this is an exercise which we must focus our attention. After that, I think you will arrange everything and you will start the production process and you have released the product. And how we are going to distribute this product? Shall we distribute this product directly? That means there is a direct contact with the customers, or we can arrange it through a middleman. If it is going to be middleman, how we are going to identify who are our distributors? How do we arrange this material to our distributors? What are the terms and conditions for this agencyship or dealerships? So these are all of the various issues involved in the distribution. So for that, how we are going to control these various activities? And this itself is a unique one, unless you have a manufacturing activity as a service organization. This project itself is a unique nature. So for that, your control aspects are something different. And usually the project is having a single or a sole objective. And the organization structure of this particular project is mostly having a vertical type of the structure, and you have a direct contract with the lower and with your subordinate employees for giving the directions. At the same time, I think you are also going to collect the information in the name of the feedback from your subordinates. And here, your focus is always on schedule of the time for completion. Completion of the time is more important. In some of the occasions, you may not have any resource constraints, but time is very, very important. If there is any delay in completion of the project, it is going to be having a lot of the costs involved. I mean, the cost of delay is very, very heavy here. So timely completion is very, very important. And here you may not have any standardized things, right? Unlike a manufacturing organization. If it is a manufacturing organization, you may have some standards. So in order to meet the standards, you have to go on working on it. But here there will not be any standard because this itself is unique one. And you may not be in a position even to design the standards also. And here, since every project is having its own way of doing the things, you may not have a standardized time also. There is a frequent changes in your plans also. And you may not have a standardized procedure to be followed. There will not be any rhythm of the various activities. And there is a lot of influence of the environment factors on the completion of your project also. Hence, there are several unique features of the project management. The control system is also not a standardized one. According to the situation, just you have to apply the control techniques in order to complete the whole project in the given time as well as within the resources. So that is about this project management and the nature of the management control system. And here Unlike the other organizations, here it is a type of the setup which completely concentrated on timely completion within the budget, within the given budget. And in many of the cases, the contract works are going to be in the name of projects. Contract works are going to be in the name of the project. Since it is a contract work, I think you'll have the predetermined price. Mostly it is a fixed price contracts. And in some of the cases, I think you may have reimbursement of the cost reimbursement. You will spend the money and you can get the reimbursement once you finish it. And it may also be some sort of a fixed percentage of the price on the completion of the work. And this is how the price is going to be determined in case of these organizations. According to that particular price, you should complete the project and make your margin amount, and you have to earn the margin amount. And in some of the projects, you have to wait until the whole project may be complete. Maybe it is 4 years, 5 years, or even it be more than that also. And your payment is going to be told depends upon the stage of the work, that is work packages. Or you may be also given the subcontracts to the various of the other people who are well versed with that particular amount of the work also. So there, what type of the control mechanism we should have on the various subcontracts or on the various work packages. If it is going to be completed as per the time bound, in such a case, you may not be having anything. But here, as per the terms and conditions, after completion of the 40% or 20% or 30%, likewise, you have to submit your bills and get the money, what all you have spent so far. Or you may be given a particular percentage of the margin, or percentage of the work done in the name of your fee on the completion of the project. So this is how the project management is something unique rather than the general organizations. And if it is going to be a project, as I have already mentioned, time bound is very, very important. So in order to reach the destination or your targeted time period, you have to prepare your analysis in the name of network analysis. In this network analysis, you are going to divide the work into different pieces. And you have to fix the time schedules for these sub works of the total work. And are we able to complete the things one after the other, the different types of the works as per the given time or not? So you have to verify with the techniques like PET and CPM continuously in order to know, is there any delay in completion of the work, or we are as per the schedule work, and how many workmen should be allotted in order to complete the work in the given schedule, or is there any critical areas? Areas are the places or the pieces of the work which is difficult to complete the things within the given. In such case, you have to redistribute, or you have to reallocate the resources from the other works which are having some lean. So this is how you should try to control in the name of network analysis with this critical path and the program evaluation review technique, by identifying the slack timings, and also by knowing what is the probability of completion of the whole project in the given time, and what are the various critical areas. And you can also have your own, I think, the way how we can quickly complete the things by having our own reallocation of the resources, realignment of the things. So for that, the control system should shoots for the purpose for which, based on the nature of this particular work. And you must also evaluate the works from time to time, and you will be in a position to know where we are and what are the various limitations here, through which I think you can make more speed up, not to complete the whole project. And here, the most important thing is two aspects you must consider while you're controlling the various activities of this thing. One is cost of delay. If you are not able to complete the project within the given time, there is every possibility of having some additional costs. Suppose if it is, it should be completed within 10 months. You will pay only 10 into the cost of establishment, maybe the salary, 10 months salary. Is there any delay in completion of the work? You have to pay more salaries. That is going to be a cost, additional cost, extra cost because of your delay in completion of the things. Cost of delay is one of the very important point which should be keeping in mind while you're handling these projects. So likewise, cost of overruns. If you are not able to complete the project within the given time, given time, cost of delay. Within the given budget, overruns, cost overruns. You have to pay more money for it. Cost of overruns, cost of delay. These are the two things which you have to keeping in mind before you are going to apply the techniques in order to complete the whole thing. And here, whatever the progress of the work in this particular project, you must submit in the name of reporting to the management. And these reports may be troubleshoot reports, or maybe in the name of progress reports, or the finance reports, or quantity of the work completed reports, or percentage completion reports, or summarized progress. These are all the various reports which we used to come across in case of the project management. So with all these things, I think you are able to complete the things within the given time and within the available budget. So for which you may also conduct audit from time to time, so that you will be in a position to know where you are and what is the amount of the work we have completed, whether the work given is completed within the given time or not, within the given budget or not. So this is how the management control system is going to be helpful in order to complete the whole project within the given time and within the given budget. That is in case of the project management or multi-project organizations. Next to that one is service organizations. How the control mechanism, the control system is going to be helpful in case of the service organizations. You may be knowing the differential features between a manufacturing organization and a service organization. And coming to this differential features, service organizations are the organization wherein they are going to provide not a free of service, but it is a service organizations are also going to aiming for getting of the income. It doesn't mean service organization doesn't mean it is not free of cost. In order to sustain its own, I think in order to survive, they should also earn some amount of the profit for their longevity. Generally, the features of service are it is an intangible heterogeneity, not a homogeneity. And there is a inseparability and perishability. These are the basic features of a service. Keeping in mind those things, I think you will have the different types of the features of the service organizations. And here there is no inventory stock. Absence of inventory buffer is one of the differential features between a manufacturing and a service organization. And here it is very difficult to control the quality, because in case of the service organizations, there is no standardized quality unlike a manufacturing. If it is a manufacturing, what is the width, what is the length, what is the height, and what is the diameter. Likewise, you have some quantifiable variables through which we are trying to control it. But in case of the service organization, I think it is going to be varying from client to client, customer to customer. And we should not expect any standardized way of providing this outcome to the customers. And most of the service organizations are highly labor-oriented, labor-intensive, and they are multi-unit organizations. Keeping in mind these features, the control system of in case of the service organization is different from that of the manufacturing organizations. And nowadays, more than 50% of the income of the GDP is from these service organizations. These service organizations are very, very important. And based on the importance of these organizations, you should also try to do your activity or provide the service much more effectively, which can be possible only because of your management control system. So for which, I think one of the important area for this service organization is quality. How do we define the quality? How do we standardize the quality? How do we evaluate the performance of the quality of the services is very, very important, for which there is a lot of the need and the role of this management control systems. So next to this one, similar type of the organization, that is in the service, it is the non-profit organizations. The organizations which are not having any profit motive while they are doing their service to the clients or the, the customers. Here, service motive is one of the basic features of these non-profit organizations. As and when we are mentioning here service motive, there will not be any target for the service, and there will not be any standardized amount of the service. The service of the persons different from the service of their in other timings or in other areas or other type of the individuals. So here there will not be any standardization of the service, and it is going to be differed from individual to individual. And while you are providing the service, let us take, for example, a particular patient is suffering with some sort of a health issue, may not be having the uniformity in their problems of the health. So it all depends upon that severity of the health problem. I think you have to use your prescription, you have to use your drug, and you use your treatment, wherein you cannot compare with any of the two individuals for controlling the activity that much easily. And here, time is very, very important. If there is any delay in providing the service, I think it may not be having any relevance at all. Hence, time is also very, very important. And here you cannot measure their performance, unlike the general organizations, because here you will not have any uniformity in their quantity of the production and the type of the treatment and the type of service you are going to be provided. And it is all a unique type, varies from individual to individual, time to time also. And here I think we may not have even any standardized rules. So keeping in mind these things, I think you have to control the various activities of the non-profit organizations. Generally, the key issues while you are implementing your MCS in these service non-profit organizations is there is no lack of clarity on your goals. No clarity, lack of clarity on your goals of the organization. And here, professional dominance is more important. Professional dominance. And it is the professionalism through which we are making any service to these organizations. And measurements is very difficult. You cannot measure the quantity in the form of a quantity of your service. Then it is less competitive pressure here. Less competitive pressure. And even fixing of the price is also very difficult here. There will not be any uniformity in your price fixation. Operations are unique, and you will not have any standardized operations. So from operation to operation, I think you may have your own way of dealing the things, unlike a manufacturing organizations. And it all depends upon the mission of the organization. You will have your own goals. And the success factors of this organization, it all depends upon the type of the approach you have, and the area where you are going to serve is going to be the key success factors. And the major important thing here is for the success of this non-profit organization, infrastructure development, infrastructure availability, infrastructure. Say, for example, if it is healthcare organization. I think it is not the question of your own attention towards the patient, but what is the equipment available here? What is the infrastructure available here? And what are the various facilities we are going to be provided for treating of a patient after underwent the surgeon or something. Those things are also very, very important in order to attain your settled goals in case of the non-profit organization. And mostly the control process is not a formal, it is an informal control system. And here communication system is also may not be a standardized one. And mostly here, it is not the awards, it is only the rewards. Through rewards, I think we are going to appraise the performance of the various activities of these non-profit organizations. And mostly it is an informal control process. In one word, we can say it is not a formalized control process, it is an informal control process. So though we are having a management control system, I think most of the cases we are going to control the things mostly in the form of informal way rather than a formalized control system. So this is what this management role of management control system in case of the non-profit organizations. So in this, before I am going to conclude, not only this session, but the entire schedule of this counseling session, we have discussed in this session the 4 units of the block 5, that is, what is the role of management control system in case of multinational companies. Since the multinational companies are having the uniqueness based on which you have to use your mechanism in order to control the various activities of this management. Then, in case of the projects, unlike the continuous activity of your business, every project is having an independent one. After completion of the project, then we'll go for. So, based on the project, nature of the project, size of the project, the duration of the project, I think you have your own way how we are going to complete quickly and how we are going to complete it within the given budget. So budget, I mean the funds and the time both are having the limited things here. So keeping in mind the availability of those 2 things, you should try to complete the whole thing within the given time and within the given resources. Otherwise, it will become cost of delay and a cost of overruns. And next to that, I think the service organizations. Since the service organizations are having a different features of, it is not a product, unlike manufacturing where we can quantify and what is the number of the kilos or what is the number of the quantity you are going to be. But here service, you cannot quantify it. But in case of the service organization, their more focus is on quality of the service, which you cannot make a standardized one. Hence, application of the management control system is also a little unique in case of the service organizations. So likewise in non-profit organizations where we are not hitting, we are not aiming any amount of the profit, but non-profit organizations are the organizations where their focus is on towards the service motive and how our management control system is going to be using or applying in case of these unique type of the cases as a special case that was given in block 5. So with this, I think my discussion for this management control system in case of the special organizations, that is multinational companies, projects, service organization, non-profit organization is over. And I wish you should thoroughly prepare from the given material and you can go for your examinations. I wish you all good luck to you. With this, I am going to stop my discussion and I wish you all good luck in your future endeavor. Thank you.